Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Young Leader Podcast. My name is Noah. I'm joined by the lovely, soon-to-be Mrs. Ross, aka Summer, aka Some Slight. And we are here recording the podcast that no one asked for, but we are bringing to you. And so, yeah, we thought it would be cool to just give a little background of our story, talk about what we're learning in this season. It's kind of to stay in the leadership vein. We're leading ourselves towards marriage. Yeah. And so it's actually been a pretty cool time. Give us like the back of the baseball card. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself, Summer. For the people who don't know. The listeners, all 10 of them.
For all of our listeners, I'm Summer, marrying Noah. So excited. Mm-hmm. But I work remote, so that's awesome. I have a lot of flexibility with my job. I lead worship at my church. I have an amazing family here in town. I live in Tulsa. We live here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, what else is there to know?
That's good. That's a great start.
I have a small group.
She does.
I have a small group, and I love it, and it's so fun.
If you're a girl, guys, do not try to slide in the DMs.
Yeah.
But
oh, gosh.
if you're a girl,
they're closed.
Go to her small group. It's so fun. They do the coolest things.
I have a huge heart for women's ministry, and like high school girls, college girls, girls in their mid-20s, just like when you graduate college, it's such an awkward time, and you're trying to make friends, but you don't really have an outlet to do that unless you go to church consistently. So, I don't know. I just created a space for girls to kind of get to know each other and hang out and grow in community, grow in their faith, and I'm loving it, and I'm wanting to grow it, and so the Lord's wanting to grow it. Obviously, it's grown the last year,
a lot of people,
and so it's been so fun. So, if you're a girl and you want to come near Tulsa, reach out to me.
Yes.
So that's a little bit about me.
Great plug.
Yeah.
Do you just want to, I guess, get into our story a little bit? Let's start with you, and kind of maybe we can do like right before we started dating, into our dating season, and then into our engagement season, which is where we're at right now. And also preface, just to say, we obviously are pretty new to this. I mean, it's like, we just got engaged. Let's drop a relationship podcast. But it's like, I feel like we've learned a lot, and like we can hopefully encourage people who are maybe single or wherever they are in their life dating, and just kind of maybe give some insight.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's one thing to like learn from people who are well seasoned in marriage and relationships, and that's great. But I think there's like a really awesome, like authentic, genuineness to just sharing your story with where you're at with other people who might be still looking for a relationship. True. And it's kind of nice to just hear from people who are like just where you are. And so,
because we're fresh in it.
We are fresh. We are still figuring this out. We have no idea. Well, we feel like we have a good idea of where we're going.
We've got the slightest idea.
We have the slightest idea.
But
what we're doing.
We're just gonna send it, and hopefully you get something.
Yeah.
From it. And so
it'll be fun.
Okay, so kick us off. Right before we were dating, where were you?
Right before?
Man. Just kind of like that leading
that
up
season before.
Yeah.
Oh man. The season before we started dating, I had just gotten really hurt in a relationship, and I was like so done with boys. I was just so done with dating. I was really hurt and confused, and I was like, what the heck, Lord? Like, I have no idea what's going on. And I realized from that hurt that I really needed to get into some counseling to just work through some things in my life. And not from the relationship, but just from life. I was like, man, this is a good kickstart to like working through past hurts of just my childhood and growing up. And so I did. So the season before we started dating, I was in counseling, and it was so healing. And I had made...
Yeah, talk about that. I'm sorry. I'm hyping you up. But counseling is big. Like, if you don't do counseling, you need to try counseling. I mean, everybody needs to go to counseling, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's a prerequisite.
Yes.
A prescription.
Yeah. It's such a good tool. I mean, I was at a point where I was like, I need counseling because I have no idea how to deal with this. Like, this hurts and this is a lot and I don't know how to move forward with this in my hands. And so going to counseling was like basically me. It's almost my counselor. I don't know what counseling was like for you guys if you've been or for you, but I chose this young girl that was semi-young, but still really professional, knew what she was doing. It was almost like I was venting to a friend in a way of her personality, but she could actually help me. So it was so fun. I really enjoyed going. It was hard, but it was like, I don't know, you work through the super hard things immediately and really head on. And the healing is so much faster because you do that.
I mean, the only, like some things, it's just the only way is through. You know, it's like that book, you can't go over it, you can't go under it. Can't go around it. And you have to go through it.
We literally hit it. And so just a mix of like the counseling, handling things head on, getting to the root of things was so great. But then also just in a season, I made a promise to Jesus. I was like, Lord, I am so done, like, chasing after things that are not you. Like, I don't care what it is. Relationships was the primary thing. But I was like, if it's not you, I do not want it in my life. And I even remember sending a super long voice memo to my best friend and just being like, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm done. And I was really excited. Like, it was honestly a really exciting time of my life because as hard as the work was to heal emotionally and mentally from my past, the like hope in Jesus of like, I have an incredible future because Jesus like promises that to me and I'm finally fully surrendered to him. And so I was in counseling and I was healing from a lot, but I was also like in a really hopeful place where I was just like, Lord, I am done chasing things that are not you, and I am ready to step in what you have for me. And if that's nothing right now, I'm content.
That's so
and
good.
It was so nice. And it wasn't easy by any means. It was one of the hardest seasons, but it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was really hard for a really short time.
Refining.
It was hard for a really short time because I just pressed in to how hard it was really quickly. And then Jesus was like, I finally have your whole heart. I'm going to heal it. And he did. And it was incredible.
That's crazy.
But I was just like not looking and I was so content just leading worship at church, serving, living my life. And I was, that's where I was at.
That's so cool. Yeah. For me, I mean, it's also crazy like how our stories like are so similar. Like our timeline is like so similar, like around the time you're going through that relational hurt. Like I was also like trying to juggle relational hurt and giving up like a relationship, you know. And I was like also like at that time like I was like I thought I had it pretty much figured out like in my last relationship. Like I was like, oh, like I know where I'm at. But like leaving it, I like really had to do a lot of like reflection, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so immature in so many ways that I had no idea about, and I'm insecure in a lot of ways I had no idea I was insecure about. And so leaving that, I was like oh, like I think I have some learning to do. And so went through like this whole healing season, the figuring things out, and ended up getting to that exact same place you got to. And I remember even talking to my sister about it. I was like, look, I may not get married. And I was like,
the drama.
It was like a dramatic
ever.
prayer. I was like, God, you know what? I'm done looking like so similar. Like when we told each other this, when we started dating, it was like crazy just seeing our stories just come together. But I was like very much surrendered and like starting to kind of entertain the ideas of like being a monk or something, because I was like, I have no idea. Like I don't think I'll get married. And so and then it wasn't until, you know, I started praying those prayers of like, you know, God, whatever you have for me, like whatever you have next, like I'll do it. And turns out it had a little bit of you in that process.
Just a little bit.
And so but yeah, it's cool. I mean, you said something the other day, and I'm trying to remember when you're talking about just when you let God just be the pilot to your life, you know?
I was going to talk about this here in a little bit, but even just I think I said just I don't remember.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it in a second.
Okay. Makes sense.
It'll make sense.
Yeah, it'll make sense. It'll all come together. But yeah, so we started dating.
Well, how did we meet?
Oh,
okay,
we met
we're
at
in
church.
These two...
The best place to find somebody that's a Christian is at church.
Okay, I will tell you guys, I have been going to church my whole life. Okay, I'm one of those people. I grew up in a Christian home, went to church my whole life, and I had been serving at my church for 6+ years, just like attending just me. Like, my family doesn't go to the same church as me, and so, you know, they always say, like, keep coming to church, like, who knows, you may meet your person, and, you know, it's just like your classic church thing. And I was just so annoyed by that, because I'm like, I have been here for 6 years, I have been at every campus we have, I haven't seen anybody, I know everyone here. And I was convinced. I told my best friend this. I was like, I will give you, which I probably owe her, I was like, I will give you $10,000 if I meet somebody at my church that I...
we might have to edit that out. We don't have that kind of...
I know. I was so convinced. That I was just like, I know everybody here. And it's true, I did at that time. Yeah. I did at that time.
True.
And I just hadn't seen anybody. Yeah. But yeah, we noticed each other at the young adults service at our church.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah,
it was pretty funny. Do we want to go into that, or?
I mean, it was pretty funny. I remember, like, my first interaction with Summer. I was like leaving. I was going to go get some sushi downtown, late night sushi, and I was leaving, and she was standing there talking to her friend, and I kind of gave her one of these, like, the corporate America, like the head down.
He did.
And I was like a whispered, like, faintly, like, bye. Like, I was like. And I was like, as soon as I walked out the door, I was like, I blew it. I'm an idiot. Like, why did I do that? Like, I gave her the classic,
yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, you know the memes that are like, don't do it.
Yeah, it was really bad. And then,
So, yeah, I had been noticing Noah at church. I thought he was so cute. But keep in mind, I was in a place where I was not looking. I was not interested. And so I was like, you know what? Like, who cares if he's cute? But I was secretly, like, kind of fangirling, like, I thought you were really cute, and I was a big fan.
That's
and
amazing.
So you know, I was like, well, if he wants to talk to me, like, I wouldn't be opposed. So yeah, obviously I had been noticing you, so when you did that, I was like, it's official, he hates me. Like, he is not interested, he does not want to talk to me. This is so embarrassing. It was embarrassing for both of us.
Yeah, it was bad, and it's so funny. We thought the same thing too.
Yeah,
but
I was like, please say hi, and then you didn't, and I was so embarrassed by that.
So we move on. Dream start. We move on, and then I think. Oh, I said happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
In the DMs, I said happy birthday.
Slid into the DMs.
Hope it's your best year yet. And yeah.
I was like, please continue the conversation, and it didn't, which is fine.
Yeah.
Also discouraged there, but that's okay.
I was scared. I was nervous.
It's okay.
It was bad. It was so bad. But then
I
slid back into the DMs.
He came back, guys.
I did. I let that simmer. You know, I planted the seed, and then I was like, okay, like, well,
left me wanting more.
You gotta water it now, and so, yeah. We started up a conversation. She'd posted something about breakfast food, and I was like, oh, I love breakfast food. Like, who doesn't?
I knew that would get him.
And we talked every day since.
Yeah. Gave me his number. We started texting. You know how it goes.
Went for a walk.
Yeah, guys.
First date idea, go to a public place.
So sweet.
We went for a walk, then we went to dinner. And I mean, the rest is history. We could honestly end it there.
Yeah.
If we wanted to.
Seriously. Cut.
But yeah, we fast forward probably 5 months. We were moving fast.
5 months.
5 months, we were like, yes, we love each other.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, like, so this is how the story goes, allegedly. Okay.
Allegedly?
Okay, no,
this is
there.
what they say.
I was there. I go to Hawaii to visit some friends.
But wait.
What?
Right before you left, we had lunch. He asked me to lunch.
I was pretty nervous at this lunch.
Yes, he was.
It was
I noticed.
Cool Greens,
I was like, "Are you okay? Like, what is up?" Because normally, like, we're dating, it's fine.
Yep.
But he was like tense and like just acting like it was an interview. Like he was just like ready. And I was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so anyway, he asked me to pray about our relationship. He said, "We need to be praying about this relationship because this is like the first week or two where like we're apart, and we need to like talk to God about our future together." And I was like, "That's such a good idea." You know, already a great leader from the start. And I was like, "Let's do it." So that's kind of where that started.
Yeah, no, it did. And I mean, I feel like that was such a fault of mine too, just putting so much pressure on relationships. And so I was like really trying not to do that. And like I was like, oh, like what if God says walk away when I'm like so in love with this girl? And so I was scared about that. But we gave it to God. And so go to Hawaii. Get real. Yeah, get real, be real. Anyways, so I go to Hawaii, and the whole plane ride, I'm praying the most dramatic prayer of my life. Like, I'm praying, like, God, like, if this is the woman, show me something. Like, fleece the ground. Like, I'm Gideon out here. Show me something, God. Praying in the spirit, like, all these things. And then I get to Hawaii, and we, like, as soon as we get to Hawaii, we go to this evangelist's house. Shout out Shane Vega. And he says to me, like within a few hours, like probably like the first hour of being at his house, he goes, and doesn't know me, doesn't even know that I'm dating a girl, I don't think. Like, I don't know how he would know that.
You just kind of like walked into his house, said hello, and he starts speaking into your life. Yeah,
like we just met him. And so getting to know each other, and then he goes, so tell me about this girl you're praying about. And I was floored. I was like, what? Like, there's no way. Like, there's no way, bro. Like, And so like I start telling him about Summer, and he goes, yeah, God wants me to tell you that he's on her life. And I was like, there's no way.
Boom.
Like the same day prayer. Like I prayed that prayer, and then a few hours later that happens. And so come home, tell Summer the news.
Well, I will say, it was like that day. It was like his first day there, his first few hours there, and he texted me, and he's like, I have the most incredible experience to share with you when I get back. And he was not going to be back for another week. Yeah. And he's like, I don't want to tell you till we're in person. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So I'm like, all week, I'm just like, what is it? Yeah. It was so funny. It was. I knew it. Excited. I hoped it had something to do with that.
Yeah. But. Yeah. And so we were like, you know what? We're just going to take this, and we're going to just keep taking the next step.
Yeah.
And so
I was on the other side praying. It's funny because you were like, God, please, like, show me a sign. Like, you know, but I was just like, Lord, what are you thinking? Like, you know, I've been praying this whole like time, you know, and really for Lord to just show me in steps, because God leads in steps. Yes. He's not just gonna like dump the truth on you when you first meet somebody. Like, love at first sight. If someone was like, do you have love at first sight with Noah? I'd say yeah, because I was just very infatuated, and I had heard so many amazing things about you. So I was like, yes, instant. But when it comes to that spiritual level of things, like God's not going to be like, that's your husband. And I'm not going to, I guess I can't say that. That does happen for some people. I guess it does,
yeah. But like, you can't just be like.
You can't go into it thinking that he's going to share that with you. Right. Like, there are certain people that happens with, and that's amazing, and that's their personal experience. You can't expect God to you can't go in expecting that. Right. And so.
And the cool thing is, too, it's like we got that word, which I do believe was from God, but we didn't get married the next day. Like, we weren't just like, oh, wow, like this prophet gave us this word, and so now we must be married tomorrow. Right. Like, I took that home. We both continued to pray. We both continued to work through just life together as a dating couple. We both grew in the Lord. Like,
there's still more to learn about each other, too.
There was still more to learn, and even though we did get engaged, spoiler alert, like, we did get engaged fairly fast, like, we still, like, took that time and, like, kind of, like, grew together for another probably 6 months or so, or however many months it was, to really just be like, okay, like, let's just keep flowing and going and see if this is it. And,
I knew. I mean, I knew, but
we knew, but we took the steps.
Right, we did. We took the steps. We honored the steps that we felt like we still needed to take. And so it was just kind of like, Lord, like, Okay, awesome. I was going to say, I was praying that same week, and I felt a lot of peace because I was praying throughout our relationship.
Yep.
Not that it's, you shouldn't sit down with the Lord and like have him help answer that question of should we get married and move forward with this.
Right.
But I did feel like peace throughout the whole entire relationship. So I just wasn't surprised. And that's one thing, like anything from the Lord, not anything, because you just never know, but most of the time with God, like it just makes sense. Like his yes totally makes sense.
Well,
to
it
me.
always makes sense with God. But it's like when because there's been so many times I'm like, God, I think you're telling me to do this, and I'm gonna do it, and I end up doing it, and I'm like, that was the stupidest thing ever. Like that was like a me thought. I feel like that's one of the biggest things too. It's like juggling like the me thoughts versus like the God thoughts.
Yes.
You know. And
but I think intentionally dating like we were,
Yeah.
like hardcore intentionally dating, pursuing God, pursuing each other. You are in tune. You have to stay in tune with the Holy Spirit, and if the relationship, in my mind, I was like, if this relationship wasn't right. Like, and I had been praying and I had been listening to the Holy Spirit this whole time.
Yep.
It would have been a no a long time ago.
Oh, 100%.
And like God, and especially with where I was at, like the Lord takes care of your heart, ladies and the men. But especially
we gotta clip that.
Well, especially ladies, like the Lord takes care of your heart. He's not, if you are in tune with the Holy Spirit and you are letting him speak to you. He will not lead you, and you're letting him lead you. He will not lead you to things that are going to hurt you, especially when it comes to your heart. Like, if I had at the beginning of the year, like, laid my heart before the Lord and said, this is yours, Jesus. And he allowed me to give some of it to you.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And so I knew, like, praying, like, should I get married? Should we get married? You're in Hawaii. And I was like, Lord, what do you think? And he was like, yep. Still a yes. Like, I wasn't
that peace was there.
Yeah, like I wasn't gonna lead you, especially knowing where my heart was, to this point, to just break your heart again and tell you can't marry the person that you fell in love with, and that I let you kind of fall in love with, because I was just kind of holding this like the Lord's hand and just been like, okay, where are we going? And you showed up, and it was just peace the whole time, and so just stay in tune with the Holy Spirit and. Definitely pray, have like a definitive moment where like, this is what we're praying for, right? But the Holy Spirit is a big tool, and I hate to call it a tool, but it is like in your relationship, in your life.
Gosh,
so
that's so good. Wow.
So it wasn't surprised. I actually called my best friend, and I was like, one of my best friends, and I was like, I have been praying all week about this relationship, and I've heard the Lord tell me like, this is a yes, this is peace, but there hasn't been this huge, massive moment of, you're going to marry him. This is the person for you. Like, I was scared because normally people, especially in Christian culture, they're like, there was this moment with God, and like, it was like a whole thing, and the stars were out, and the Lord spoke to me, and like, I just didn't feel like I had one definite moment with God where he was like, yes, Summer, marry Noah, you know? Like, it was just this peaceful Holy Spirit thing where it was just like, yes, yes, yes. It was just this constant yes. So I called her because I had assumed you had this big moment with this guy. And I didn't have that. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's not right? It's both yes, but like, what if it's not right? And she gave me the best advice. She said, Summer, God speaks to you in completely different ways. Like, Noah was praying specifically, well, I didn't know this at the time because we hadn't talked about it yet, but the Lord needed to speak to you in that way. And for you to know. And the Lord knew I was good. He knew that he had already spoken to me. The Lord does not need to repeat himself. He has already spoken to me. And so he was just like, continued to give me that gentle peace, that gentle nudge of like, And so she was just, she said, don't discount how important it is to feel peace. Because I think that's kind of what I was freaking out about. I was like, I'm just feeling peace. I haven't.
Oh no.
I know, but like most people.
That's so good.
You have to understand, like in Christian culture, like people hype it up. You know, they're like, God told me my dream. But
that's
it's like
so good.
But it's like, no, I hadn't had a dream.
I'm like, good with peace.
But I was like, I just feel peace. Like,
yeah.
he probably has this whole story. And she was like, do not discount how big of a deal it is that you're feeling peace.
Wow.
Because so many people don't feel that. And it's
peace.
A huge gift. And, like, that's a gift from the Lord. Like, peace is huge. Like, so many people don't have that. And if he's giving you peace, that's a big deal. And so...
It's the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Like,
and so I was like, that is so true. I have been ignoring this peace in a way. Like, it wasn't enough. Yeah. And God was almost like, I'd already told you, yes, I don't need to repeat myself, but I'm going to give you this gift of peace to, like, confirm that, yes.
Gosh.
And so that was my week of prayer. So God will speak to you, too, differently. If you're in a place where you're praying about a relationship or you're curious about how that will go in the future, just keep that in mind.
Totally.
So.
Wow. That is good.
Yeah.
That is so good. And so, take that few more months and then we get engaged.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. We're engaged right now, and
best day of my whole life.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was a cool thing. My sister brought her to this dock where I was waiting, and it was just a beautiful moment.
It was
and then
the best day
we celebrated
ever.
With friends after. But
yeah,
I mean, gosh, we go right into engagement season, and it's just like, wow, like we're here. Like we're here, and we're still in engagement season. Honestly,
we are.
Like, we're still 2-3 months out.
We're in the thick of it.
Marriage.
Yes.
But man, like everything. I mean, it's so cool to see like the growth that comes in this. I mean, instantly, we're given like the gosh, like I don't even know how to say it. Like just like all like everything just feels like it's opened up now, and we're like, okay, like. We're engaged. We have to get real. So we started reading.
Yeah.
We're reading 2 good books right now.
I mean, it's like once you get engaged, you have made that final decision. Like, this is real. Like, this is no longer a, what if one day we got engaged? Or, when we're engaged.
To marry each other.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is it. And it's like an up level in a way.
Yeah.
Everything just heightens in the best way.
Yeah.
And
it does.
It does. That's for sure. Do we want to go there?
I mean, we can touch on it. I mean, we could talk the whole episode about boundaries. True. Boundaries are real, and you need to have them. I mean, we've learned that just so much this season.
So much.
I mean, we're like at this point, we're just
no one talks about it. So we might have to do a whole episode about it because no one talks about.
Might have to drop a part 2, but I mean, healthy boundaries. Like it's crazy. Like as soon as we go into engagement season, it's like boom, like boundaries need to be fortified because I mean, like it ain't no joke. Like there really is like a switch that goes on like when you're engaged.
Yeah,
and like dating. Like I mean, we never really had a problem in dating, and then like as soon as engagement happens, we're like, oh my gosh, like I can't be around you.
I know.
Like past a certain hour.
When we were dating, I was so confident. I was good. Like I was like, whatever,
Yeah, we're not even like whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'm good.
And then engagement happens, and boom.
Boom.
Reality
I love you.
check. Yeah. Okay.
I do.
No, I love you too. But yeah. It's a real thing, and so just navigating that. I mean, accountability. We both have people we text and we talk to about that. And it's been a really cool thing to lean on our friends, who are already married, and hearing their stories. Like they're saying, like oh yeah, like that was the hardest thing we ever did.
Yeah,
like it's the most frustrating time we've ever been in.
Yeah,
and so
I think
coming out of that is.
Right.
Yeah,
I
crazy.
mean, when it comes to the leadership aspect of things, like we are kind of like sponges right now. We are trying to absorb as much information as we can about being married before we're married. Mm-hmm. And one thing I think is so important that we are doing is preparing for our marriage more than we're preparing for our wedding day. Because so many people, specifically girls, like we get wrapped up in the dream wedding day and we can get, like, I know firsthand, getting caught in, like, planning, the details. Yep. I'm not a details person, so the details kind of stress me out. And so you can just get caught up in it. But I have to recenter myself and really focus on, like, okay, this is one day. And we need to be preparing more for our marriage than we are that one day.
Yes, 100%.
And so we are kind of diving in. We immediately dove into 2 books. One you got me for Christmas right after we got engaged.
The Levi Lusko Marriage Devotional. Shout out the Luskos. That book is so good.
It's so good.
We've been going through it, and it just brought so much conversation, so many interesting things. I mean, like, just have come up. We're like, oh wow, like we see ourselves in this chapter or that chapter, or oh, this is something to look out for in year 5 or whatever. Like, we need to stay on top of this, you know. And so that's been a good one. And then The Meaning of Marriage by Tim Keller has also been a really good read.
Yeah,
it's
really intense.
It is intense. A lot of like just big
thoughts,
just bars, like oh, like dang.
He just drops them.
He drops a lot of knowledge on us there. But,
the Luskos wrote their book more conversational, which is how we are. It
helps, yeah.
And so it's a lot easier to digest. But The Meaning of Marriage has been really powerful.
Yeah.
Because it tackles a lot. And I think it's so important to go through a book like that. Like, the Lusko book is for people who are married.
Yeah.
But so we kind of have to insert ourselves.
Yeah.
In different ways. Like, okay,
it's we're not doing that yet.
Yeah. So we can't talk about that yet. But there are things that are just so useful. And like you said, just preparing ourselves, like knowing, oh, this is what married people struggle with. And they had to make a whole devotional about it. Okay. Like, let's prepare ourselves for this. Because we don't know anything.
We don't. I mean, we're trying to expand our bag.
Pretty much.
Like, we're trying to get in other people's bags and put things in our tool belt of knowledge.
Yeah.
We got to get in our bag. Our marriage bag. But
just having conversation with our married friends.
Yeah, that's a big resource.
All my friends are married already. Not all of them. Soon to be married are married. I'm 26, so this age, kind of a thing.
Yep.
Some of our friends are married already. And so just like, you grab lunch with a lot of your friends that are married. Yeah. And ask them a bunch of questions.
Yeah, they have so much good stuff because they're so fresh in it. And I mean, I feel like that's why this is hopefully reaches somebody who's in a single season or a dating season. They're like, oh, okay, this is what engagement looks like, or whatever, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, surrounding yourself with community, that's so good.
Yeah.
You need to do it. And so, get in community when you date.
Yes. It's so good.
Necessary for sure.
And this sounds bad, but you kind of see like, okay, we don't want to be like that. Like, this is, we've seen where that leads. We don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be like that.
Not in like a judgmental way where we point our finger, because I mean, we fall into stuff, just like anyone else. But
like, oh, like A plus B equals C. Like, what happened here resulted in this, and we do not want that. Yes. So it's not a judgment thing, because we're not perfect. Facts. We have no idea what we're doing.
You're right.
It's just like, true. Like, what guardrails can we put in place for
it's just the
us
truth.
To thrive?
Yeah.
And so, it's been a season of just figuring out what boundaries we want to put in place. Sometimes they come up out of nowhere. Like, things come up and we're like, oh, we need to have a boundary in place for that,
Yep.
Or I think it just comes with learning more about each other.
Oh, totally.
And about how we operate as a couple.
How we resolve conflict. Yeah, like communication. I mean, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
And so
a lot of these things, like, we slowly entered into dating, especially because we were so intentional. But it's true, like, once you get engaged, it's just like crazy.
Yeah.
It all just, you have to figure it out really fast, and it all hits you. And but it's so good. Like, if you have to come to the person that you're engaged to, or dating or whatever, just with an open heart and open hands, and just like, how much can I learn about you?
Right.
Because there's never going to be like a time where I know every single thing about you.
And I'm learning stuff about you every day. From not knowing each other to dating to engagement and then marriage. Like, how many months was that? All for 4 seasons. 8 months?
8 months. We had been dating 8 months when you proposed.
8 months.
Yeah.
And then an additional 6 to marriage.
Yeah. So
the Lord,
just a little over a year.
Fast.
He was like, boom. And my whole life, people were like, Summer, I feel like when this happens for you, it's going to happen so fast. And, like, I had so many people tell me that out of nowhere. And I'd just be like, okay, cool, thanks, you know?
Yeah.
I'll take that. And it happened.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of that, though, too, you did, and I know we went through this, you were prophesied over about this year.
I forgot about that.
And, like, this is kind of crazy, like some people, like won't get this, but you literally, like, somebody prophesied over you that you'd be married this year, which is kind of crazy.
3 years ago, or something like that, I had a family friend. She's amazing. She came over, we were praying, and she prophesied. She was like, I feel like the Lord is giving me over your life the number 3. Like, there is something that's going to be happening. Like,
which is also my favorite number and my number in basketball.
The number, she's like, I see the number 3 over your life. And she goes, I don't know if that's 3 years, 3 months. Like, I don't know what that is, but you need to pray about that. And so I was like, okay. And so literally 3 years after that was when we met. Yeah. And I look back and I remember that. And it was like a few months into us dating, and I was like, Noah, what the heck?
She said too, like what you're just saying, like, when you find the one, like, it'll go quick.
She did say that, yeah.
Which is nuts.
She was one of the people that said that. I've had a lot of people say that. Yeah. But she did also
and, like, she prayed that over your life, which is crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Anyways.
It was really cool. There was a few other things that she prayed for that I'm really feeling now in this season of my life. And so, segue to say, if someone prophesies over you, or you're feeling something like in a similar situation, first of all, take it to God first. Be careful with another person's words over your life, because this is more important than this. Yep. But second of all, like, she told me a few things in that time that I was like, okay, not feeling that right now, but I'm sure in the future I will. And 3 years later, like 3 whole years later, I completely forgot about that moment, and now I'm looking back and remembering,
living in it.
This is what the Lord was telling me through her. And so it's just cool. Like, he was just giving me like a little glimpse into like a little hint into what my future would be, and it didn't change the way I lived my life. And I'm just grateful. It was really cool.
Dang. Well, I think we have a few Q&As. We'll do a quick Q&A sesh.
Yeah.
Again, that nobody asked for, but we're just doing
People did ask us questions.
They did ask us questions. You're right.
They did.
And so, which one do you want to start off with? I know there's 3 we were going to do.
Yeah, so the first one is...
the number 3.
What is one thing you would tell your single self, knowing what you know now? So if you could go back to Noah like a year ago, what would you tell him, knowing what you know now?
Gosh, so much. So much.
Spell.
I mean,
Tell
I feel
us.
like, just don't put any pressure on this. Yeah. Stop trying to make it happen. I feel like after I left a relationship and I was kind of hurt by it, and I was kind of like, oh, like, I gotta rebound, but, like, not in the way the world rebounds, but, like, I need to just turn around and find a wife or whatever. And so I was like, oh, like I'll go on a date, you know, which is like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put myself out there, but go on a date.
Stick it to the man.
I went on a date and I was like, oh, like, I don't think this is it. And so I was like, yeah, maybe not. And the second, like, I stopped trying to do that, it was like God was like, yeah, let me show you the way to go. And like, surrender, like, out of surrender comes so much, you know. And so if I was like, yeah, just do that sooner, stop stressing about it. And so that's what I would tell him, single Noah. What about you?
Oh my word, I would tell her so much too. The most important thing I would say to my single self, but also just to really anybody in a single season, is, like, surrender your heart to the Lord for real. I had been I've been a Christian my whole life, but Jesus didn't always have my full heart. Yeah. And there were seasons where I thought he did, but I was kind of denying it in a way. And I was like, no, like, I still am going to do kind of whatever I want over here. But over here, he has most of me.
Gosh.
He didn't have all of me.
Yeah.
And so it was this doesn't happen for everybody, but it was like when I fully surrendered my heart and really my life to Jesus, really, I found so much joy. Jeez. And I didn't even need to meet Noah to find that joy. Yeah. And this whole podcast, like, this is all about relationships, but I didn't need to find Noah.
Yeah.
And
right.
If I didn't, I'd still be good. Like, yes. And so, because, like, I was so excited and content and had a joy in my heart that Jesus had my heart, and I wanted him to have it. And so, and he still does. Yeah. And so, gosh, I would say too, like, because I didn't fully surrender my heart to Jesus, which is a process for everybody, I was kind of just taking these segues of my own plan of my life. Like, you were kind of in a place of like, well, I want to force this and I want to try and force that. Right. And I was just trying to force relationships that I shouldn't have been in, I don't know, really anything. And just because I wanted something so badly. Right. And it wasn't happening. And I was freaking out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm almost 25, 26. And blah, blah, blah. I'm not where I think I should be. And I was like forcing things. And I don't know. You have to be careful. I have to be careful with how I say this. But I'm thankful for our timeline. Yeah. Our timeline was so God.
Absolutely.
But I would say a lot could have been avoided. And hurt could have been avoided because I took my own. Yeah. If I hadn't have taken my own way.
Tried to make it happen yourself.
Yeah, and looking back, I can say that. Gosh. When you're in the thick of it, it's hard because you want to.
Right.
And I sympathize with that. Like, it's hard when you're single and you're like, you know, wanting to find somebody to marry and you want to have that companion in life and just do life together with somebody. Yeah. It's hard. Yep. And everyone around you found it. It's so hard. Yeah. But I will say surrendering my heart to Jesus fully for real is the best thing I ever did. Yeah. Before meeting you. And like, I was just so happy and content. Yeah. And so it sounds a little cliche, but
that's so good.
It's
so
just
good.
A fact.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
That's good.
And
wow.
Yeah, so much joy is found there.
Amen.
And so
good stuff.
I could go on and on about that. So
the whole episode.
Ladies, if you want to ask me about that, I would love to share. I just love that topic so much. Yeah. Because I was like literally just there. So
yeah, that's good.
We can move on.
Next question. That was good. You're preaching the roof off. Okay, so second question. First kiss story. First kiss story. So, actually, Naya, my sister asked this question.
Oh, Naya.
But anyways,
thanks, girl.
Allegedly, the story goes like this.
So they say.
We didn't kiss when we were talking. That was kind of like an unspoken rule between us. Yeah. We just can't go down that road.
I was not interested in kissing Noah before we were official.
Totally. And I didn't even try because I was like, no. Like that's we can't base our relationship off that, you know, before it even starts. No. And so we waited, and as soon as I asked her to be my girlfriend, planted one. Yeah.
It was crazy. So yeah, we just like didn't kiss, and I was like, even just writing it out through dating, I was like, I don't need to kiss Noah. Like, do I want to? Heck yeah, I do. Like, full disclosure, I like this guy. It would be kind of fun. But I was fine. I was like, I don't need to kiss him. And, you know, it's like, oh, do we kiss? Like, but Noah was ready. You were like, I'm kissing this girl because he asked me to be his girlfriend.
I was burning with passion.
He asked me to be his girlfriend. I say yes. We have a hug moment of like, yay. Kisses me immediately. Just grabs my face. That was a good gives me a little kiss. It was great. But it was shocking. Because I was like, you know, we don't need to kiss. It'll be fine. Like, I was shocked. Because, yeah, anyway. It was hilarious. And we kissed.
Then we kissed.
Beautiful. It was beautiful.
Last question. Do you believe in the one? No. Don't believe in the one. Like the one person for you.
In the whole, so...
Like Grant said, we believe in the one, but we don't believe in that there's one person on planet Earth that's supposed to marry you.
Right.
Now we believe after you get married, there is one person that you're supposed to
After
be with.
you're married, there is the one.
There is the one. But when you're dating and when you're trying to get married, there's not just one person out there that's like,
no.
You have to marry that person.
No.
There's
I
no
mean,
way.
it's a personal thing. Like, I just don't believe that other people do. But, like, what if you miss... There's just so many variables.
Yeah.
It sounds romantic.
It does.
It sounds so romantic. But...
Yeah.
It honestly... But it's honestly more romantic, in my opinion, that there are multiple people that you and I could be with
True.
in this lifetime.
True.
But we are choosing each other.
Yeah.
And, like, that totally, to get into the spiritual side of things, it just gets into the love that Jesus has for us because he chose us. He chose us.
Yeah.
Even actively now. Like, when I don't choose Jesus, he chooses me.
Yep.
And that draws me closer to him. When I'm reminded of that, like, oh, Jesus is, like, I need to come back and draw closer to him. He's been choosing me this whole time.
Yeah.
And, like, in relationship, like, when we're married, like, I choose you, you know? And so there's so much beauty to that.
Yeah.
Jesus chooses us, and he gives us the freedom to choose other things. Like, we don't have to choose him, but he chooses us every time. And that's a beautiful picture of what marriage is.
Yeah. We choose each other every day.
And so I think for that reason, I would say there's not the one before you're married.
That's so cool. Wow. Well, great podcast.
Yeah. Good doing business with you.
Good stuff.
What was
like
that?
and subscribe. I didn't have a conclusion planned.
Okay.
So thanks for watching. Tell us if you would like part 2.
Tell us what you think. Tell us if you want a part 2. Any more questions you have for us, we would love to answer. Ladies, this
come
is
to
my
our small
thing.
group.
I love women's ministry. So
hit up
to
Summer.
me.
Ladies, not men.
Ladies, come on. Just ladies.
Anyway, good stuff.
I love you.
I love you too.
This has been fun.
It's been good. Thanks for watching. Peace.